tour.
That's a great shirt.
Okay, you see the back of it?
Yeah.
Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong. When the union's inspiration through the workers' blood shall run, there can be no power greater anywhere beneath the sun. Yet what force on earth is weaker than the feeble strength of one? But the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong.
Welcome everybody to Labor Day. As you all know, we're the unions in the city, and we're much more than that as well. We're people working with community groups. We have a long list of social programs we support. We're the United Way, the Roundtable on Poverty, Sisters on Providence. We do a lot of stuff with this Labor Council. Now, at a time when Labor, unfortunately, has been accustomed to seeing a few setbacks, this last year brought a pretty significant victory. We changed the government's mind, and they now understand that the Canadian pension plan is the best way to truly ensure retirement security. These are the people who for years have been telling us to save more money, put it in RRSPs, and hand it to the stock market. We are not finished this battle, but we've got some meaningful changes underway, and we can win this. We have another battle that I'm hoping that we can win. The living wage campaign. And I am not talking minimum wage, because minimum wage is just an insult. People have a right to a good wage. They have the right to have enough in their paycheck at the end of the week to buy food and pay rent, and have your kids in organized sports, and buy clothes once in a while. A living wage means that you have enough to actually take part as a full citizen in our city.
I'm Smokey Thomas. I'm president of the Ontario Public Service Employees Union.
Dave Lundy, Regional Vice President, Region 4, Eastern Ontario.
And I'm Cam J, Chairperson of the Ops Area Council for Kingston.
I just want to speak about a couple of things quickly. One is Dalton McGuinty and his 0-0 and his wage restraint. Well, I had the unfortunate privilege of having to sit there for a whole day. OPSA was one of the first unions up, along with CAW and a bunch of other unions, Okufa, and listen to all this nonsense. And it's clear to me that they really don't have a clue what they're doing. And that's the scary part. But what McGuinty says is, and Dwight Duncan and a bunch of other liberals, they say, well, you know, you could have Tim Hudak. I looked at him and said, well, at least then we'd know who the enemy is. So my message to Dalton McGuinty, my message to every bad boss out there is, you piss us off enough, the labor movement, you'll unite us like we've never been united before, and we will kick your sorry asses out of power and out of Toronto. Thank you very much.
Well, that was to the point. Thanks, Smokey.
Well, I think the most pressing issue facing us right now is Dalton McGuinty's wage restraint. I can see us ending up in a heck of a fight with them, and there's just no rhyme or reason to what they're trying to do, so it's pretty clear to me it's all political. Has very little to do with the money, except when it comes to being a worker that doesn't get a raise, and then has everything to do with the money. So if he would abandon his corporate tax cut, there would be no need for wage restraint of any kind. You could continue to rebuild public services. You could increase ODSP payments to people who are on ODSP. You could increase payments to people on Ontario Works to raise them up out of poverty so everybody could have a living wage. So I think that's the kind of things that we face as a labor movement. Protecting our own interests and the interests of our members, but also working for the betterment of society in general, making it better for everybody to live.
I think the most pressing issue is frankly the neoliberal agenda. For 20 years, we've been following the policy of let's enrich the rich, and if they're only rich enough, then they'll employ the rest of us. Well, we followed that policy, and look where it's got us, to the edge of the greatest recession since the Great Depression. If we want to really make a difference, it's time we change the direction of this of government and say, you know what? If we want a better society, let's ensure that the people who live in that society, the people who make up the majority of the community, the people who work for a living, who work for an hourly wage, who raise children, who send those children off to university, who use community health care and use community services, have the services they need so they can have a sustainable, healthy community and a good life. And that's really what we're all about. That's what we should be doing. We should be building that movement. So I think that's the main issue. Thank you.
Sure. Well, speaking from a local viewpoint, probably the most important issue for us right now is having the public understand just how important we are in this community. Our members bring in a tremendous amount of income to this community. We buy houses, we buy groceries, we support our local businesses, and you know, when those jobs are threatened and those wages are threatened, it threatens our community. It threatens all the supports that we have. Charities like United Way, you know, when we suffer, they suffer, and so the general health of public service workers is directly related to the general health of Kingston, and we need to fight for those dollars. We need to fight for those jobs.
I'd like to talk a little for a moment about taxes. There's this really anti-tax movement in society, and I think that we need to get away from that kind of a posture about taxation. Taxes are absolutely necessary. Taxes are what give us our hospitals, our schools, our roads, our public utilities, all our social safety net. So taxes are absolutely necessary. What's wrong with the taxation system, though, is it's not fair. So our union, OPSEU, along with our national union, NUPSI, are going to be launching across the country a campaign on fair taxes, fair taxation. So one way of having fair taxes would be a Robin Hood tax, a minuscule tax on financial transactions on the stock market and those sorts of things around the world, which would raise a tremendous amount of money to bring poverty, eliminate poverty around the world and have good quality of living for a lot more people. So our campaign will be focused on fair taxation. So our message to Dwight Duncan on Labor Day is, scrap that corporate tax cut. If you just scrap that corporate tax cut, Ontario already has one of the lowest corporate tax rates in all of North America, never mind, so I don't know why he keeps cutting it. And so again, our campaign will focus on fair taxation and watch for it to roll out this fall.
Solidarity forever, for the union makes us strong. In our hands is placed a power greater than their hoarded gold, greater than the might of atoms, magnified 1,000-fold. We can bring to birth a new world from the ashes of the old, for the union makes us strong.